as the 11th sign of the zodiac, presents an interesting problem. And no, I won't talk too much about the idea of Aquarius and the age of Aquarius, because I think there's something more pressing to talk about when we talk about Aquarius. And it presents an interesting problem because when people talk about Aquarius, they often talk about some of the more romantic notions of it, or even some of the more inaccurate aspects of it. For instance, like Aquarians are detached. Aquarians, if they have feelings, then they might be interesting people. People will also say that they're more the dreamers and all these things. I mean, like, we are celebrating today Bob Marley's birthday. So again, that might represent to some people Aquarius, but at the same time, this is Ronald Reagan's birthday as well. So when we have someone like Ronald Reagan versus Bob Marley, what are we talking about with Aquarius and the future, or even just the sign? So I want you to crystallize one particular idea about Aquarius. And one word that comes to mind when I think about Aquarius is the idea of the objective, or even what we call being objective. So objective doesn't mean that one is necessarily detached, or that you are of the mind that it's all just about being a third party. Objective does relate to something that connects to the actual planet associated with Aquarius. Now, I'm more traditional in my astrology, so the traditional planet associated with the sign Aquarius is Saturn. And Saturn represents all the hard, dutiful, disciplined aspects of life. So one of the things that also relates to dutiful, hard, disciplined aspects of life is having an objective. And when we talk about Aquarius and the objective, it's to crystallize in your mind that there's something worth getting and that one can aspire toward and reach. Now, often for many Aquarians, it is a sense of truth. It is something or belief in being able to take what functions on the margins, what functions underneath the cupboards, underneath the holes that we see, the people we might find along the road, and find something that is intrinsically true between us. What connects us? Rather than the superficial idea that Aquarians are about friends and connections. No, it's about how the heart connects to other hearts. How one, by virtue of connecting to other hearts, experience something that is truth and something that is true. And once one has this gathering of mass of energy, then there's something that also goes along with Aquarius, which is the objective, where there's a goal, where there's an intention. Now, often you may find with Aquarian types, whether that's by the sun sign, the moon sign, or the rising sign, you will find some strong sense of will, in terms of wanting to get something done. So for instance, the lead character who was in The Pursuit of Happiness, anyone seen that movie? I believe his name is not Chris Carter. Is it Chris Carter? But the lead of that film, and it was played by Will Smith, and he was played by Will Smith in the movie. But that particular character had a vision. He had a dream. There was something he wanted to pursue. That was his objective. That was his notion of expressing Saturn. Nothing was going to stop him in pursuing that objective. So when Aquarians start talking about having a particular vision, a dream, something they're going toward, they want to both draw in other people, but what they're doing also for themselves is drawing the idea of their power from within themselves all the way out toward their objective, crystallizing it into something they can put their heart into. So basically, what am I saying? Aquarius creates the future. It doesn't wait for the future. It's the idea that the objective, the idea of the future, is not just something that's out there that you just grab and it belongs to you. It's something that you also project from within your consciousness because it's within you. It burns within your heart. So Aquarius, as we approach this new moon, is really getting in touch with your ability to use your will to project it into the quote-unquote external world to manifest what you feel, what can be your destiny. To attempt to do otherwise and then make it into like, well, Aquarians are objective in the sense of being detached and not feeling their feelings. That's not what's happening. Have you ever had like a strong objective, like you want to do something, you have to do something, and someone says, well, mommy, help me, blah, blah, blah. And they're not necessarily in danger, they just have a need, right? Well, if you kind of bypass your child or your friend in order to take care of a large objective, are you being cold? Are you being detached? No. You're adhering to the larger principle, the larger objective. So if you had to stay home with your child, every time they wanted you to stay home, you wouldn't be able to work. You wouldn't be able to take care of your child, for example. So that wouldn't make you cold. And this is what people confuse about Aquarius. They think, well, they're just going to be off gallivanting or they don't really care about me. Well, yes, I think many Aquarians, because the ones I've met, I can only talk about the ones I've met and I've known. I haven't met any cold Aquarians in that sense. What I have met and what I have experienced are those who adhere to a certain objective and adhere to a certain idea that life can be better and life can be better for those around me. How they connect in terms of the heart. So the future is not so much something that's just out there for you to reach for, but something that comes within you and you are always making the future. Now let me relate that to another Saturn lesson that I've shared with you before, but I think is important to reiterate today. That relates to the idea of Aquarius, even the putative age of Aquarius. Now again, we might have time for Q&A, so I'm not going to go so much into like the age of Aquarius, but I'll say this. Realize that it has taken, in our history, 4.5 billion years to come up with the wonder that is you. There's never been anyone like you. There might have been people who look like you, who might talk like you, but there is no one like you. This permutation of genes and cells and celestial flotsam will never exist as perfectly or as uniquely as you exist in this particular time. Now, Leo might say the opposite of Aquarius, just to celebrate your uniqueness, your funkiness. That's glamorous, that's glorious. But Aquarius is giving you a different lesson. You, this permutation of you, has been created for a reason. You have been given your dreams and your visions for a reason. They do not just belong to you. You are an organized aspect of aspirations and cells and ancestors who have coalesced in one period of time for now. And you give that energy for that larger purpose, even though you may be thinking you have your own isolated dreams and your own isolated visions. To some degree that's true, you do. But realize those have been crafted into you by the society that called you forth. The society called you forth. May not have known you by name, but you have been called and conditioned for this particular purpose. You only have to own that purpose. When I say own it, accept it as yours. But it's already there because you've been in the making for it. So going along with the Saturnian theme, Saturn being how we kind of deal with not just the taskmaster, but the craft person. You've been in the process of making yourself and being made, and now it's also your turn and your time to make your future. And this has been the coalescence of what's been happening for the journey of your life. Now you can decide that you don't want to be part of the making. You want to believe that your future is just out there for someone to give to you or to grab. Well, I can tell you if that becomes like the determination of your future, you may never grab it. You may just have to wait for it for all eternity. Because right now, it's right in front of you, and you're making it. You don't have to make it alone. That's the other lesson of Aquarius. Because you weren't made alone. You can connect to others. You can build your tribe. And if you allow me this self-indulgence, this leonine indulgence, what do you think I'm doing today? Why you're here? It's not for me. It's for you. Not just for the healings and the seeings, for you to connect. This is something that you can replicate in everything you do with others, beyond this space. Because that's how we create real heat. That's how we create real truth. And that becomes Aquarius. Thank you. So, good, I did it in 10 minutes. We have time for at least one question before we have our celebration with strawberry cupcakes. Strawberry, chocolate-covered strawberries, right? Got cupcakes in mind. So who has a question?
So our Scope Land has a question from Moonbeam Luna wants to know, what is your joy?
My joy is always doing this. My joy is speaking in front of people. That's perhaps my greatest joy, is sharing what's in my heart to people. Anyone else?
Is there some aspect of Aquarius that is as focused on, and maybe even comes off a little rigid and focused on like, this is the way things are done? And
absolutely. So one of the darker manifestations that can happen with Aquarius, because it is the day house of Saturn, it is the day manifestation of Saturn, is it can get too attached to its perception of the vision, and this is the way that it's to be. And the dance is a fine line between figuring out how to get everyone on board and create more people in tandem with the vision, and maintaining the integrity of the vision that they see. They have to learn how to create space. One of the things that's interesting about Barack Obama, who's an Aquarius rising, is that early in his presidency he was also trying to create space, but he didn't know how to maintain the integrity of his initial vision. So one of the things he started working with is like coming more in alignment with his own sense of integrity, and not being able to create as much space for everyone. And at the same time, he also, some perceived as like he could create more space for people, but also maintain the integrity of his vision. So he's always trying to do this dance. It's especially complicated for him because he's a Leo, so he's the opposite of it. So, but that was his overall intention of hope and creating this idea of aspiration toward the larger whole and connection. That was all his Aquarius signature.
So we have one more from Scope Land.
Okay.
So Biz Techpreneur wants to know, how do other planets in Aquarius in your chart affect you during Aquarius season? So I guess if you have planets in Aquarius in your natal chart, how does that affect you during?
So the sun magnifies and endows with energy when it goes over particular planets in your chart. So it's almost like the sun shining on it and giving a boost. So that can be a negative or positive depending on the nature of the planet. When I say the nature, meaning what it connects to. Let's say for Saturn in Aquarius, right? So let's say if you have a Saturn in Aquarius and the sun goes over that Saturn. If it's not connected to any other planet, then it might be a good time for feeling study or being more engaged in solitary endeavors or things that are more of a heavier, denser nature, that have more gravitas, or starting a group in terms of including more people and bringing things together. But let's say it's square to Mars. That's Saturn. So what that square means is kind of a dynamic tension. So the sun at that particular time might highlight a time where that particular person feels like they're always kind of lugging a heavy weight, and kind of feeling like they're, driving with the brakes on, in terms of like moving through life. So it could be a harder slug. So it just depends on how are the planets working in the natal chart, the Aquarius planets, and when the sun goes over that and connects with that. One last question, and then we should have the strawberries. Going once? Going twice? Thank you.
And people are just saying you're awesome and thank you. You had a few people wanting me to tell you that.
Oh, thank you.
All right.
All right. Be sure to save it to the camera roll. So we have a tradition